Prize-winning author of Reckless Paper Birds, he praises the book as writing that sizzles and enlivens. Three poets conducting intimate experiments with sound and silence who take glorious risks with form and land on their feet. That sounds a bit fucking good, doesn't it? So, they're sat behind me, so it's not exactly welcoming to the stage. So, we've got Jem Henderson, who is a genderqueer poet from Leeds. They have recently won a Creative Future Award for underrepresented writers. Well done. An Othered Mother, their first pamphlet, is due out in July 2022 from 9 pens. Oh, wow. They have a collaborative collection with Chris Campbell, Small Plates, due in 2023 from Broken Sleep. Next up, we've got Jonathan Kinsman, he, him, is a trans poet living in York and a BBC Edinburgh Fringe Slam finalist. His debut pamphlet, Ampersand, I'm just going to sit on that for a minute, was joint winner of the Indigo Dreams Pamphlet Prize 2017, and his second, Witness, was published by Burning Eye in 2020. His debut collection will be released by Broken Sleep Books in 2023. And finally, and we've got to give them a bit of a round of applause because they put this whole night together. It's JP Seabright. She is a queer writer living in London. They have 3 pamphlets published: Fragments from Before the Fall, an anthology in post-Anthropocene poetry by Beer Boer Press. Does it have to be so difficult? The erotic memoir No Holds Barred, which is there by Lupercalia Press, and GenderFux, a collaborative poetry pamphlet which you'll hear for the launch for tonight, by 9 Pens Press. Machinations, an experimental collaborative work, is out later this year from Trick House Press, as is Because from Ghost City Press. They were nominated for a Pushcart Prize in October 2021, are assistant editor of Full House Literary Magazine and poet in residence at Barbarette, London. Wow. Are we ready to hear some fucking GenderFux poetry? Yeah! Please welcome to the stage, JP Seabright, Jonathan Kinsman and Jem Henderson!
So, that was a very long journey from that bench over there. I'm John, that's JP, that's Jem. Cool. We're going to be taking turns, because the kind of layout of the pamphlet isn't just, this is my section, that's JP's section, this is Jem's section. We kind of like interwove it together, so that's how we're going to be performing. This is one of mine. It's called Some Possible Genders. It's you know that meme you see floating around, which is like every time the cis hets complain there are too many genders these days, we have 2 more. Yeah, it's that. Some possible genders. Ball boy. Girl guy. Motherfucker. Rat King, Her Majesty, MC, Lady Killer, ex-lover, godfather, grave cleric, cock jockey, cruel mistress, bootlicker, Jobsworth, test tube baby, yummy mummy, yuppie scum, anti-vaxxer, here for a good time, no long time, do you have a light skin type payload homonym? I have work tomorrow, cheat code, phone it in. Neoliberal, ex-Catholic, Frankie says relax. Lie back and think of England. Bonus track, urban myth, past due, Prosecco flavoured, panic attack, panopticon, curb stop, deck chair, semaphore, high vis, give 'em an inch kettling. Do you hear the people sing? If the glove fits, O negative may have had sex with a man who may have had sex with a man. Hypodermic, intravenous transubstantiation, scientific method, wisdom teeth. Bathroom stall, Eurovision, cosmic latte. Can I take your order, please? VIP, wall to wall, on the boil, hands up. I don't want to fight tonight. Baby, it's cold outside. 2 kids in a trench coat, you spin me right round, pyromaniac, piggyback, I do believe in fairies, don't call me brave. Feeling lucky, fire drill, union rep back in my day, what can I say? Lick it up, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn this way. Ekphrastic, biblically accurate, programming error, education, education, education. Section 28, cursive, 5 GCSEs, A star to C, day release, thought police, digitate your medication. Temporal paradox, meat soup, messiah, mop and bucket, salt on the rim, strangler fig, depth charges, my profit on it, supermarket own brand. Sugar-coated, suburban monstrosity, fixer-upper, it gets better, point on the diagram, outlier who should not have been counted. Unexplained phenomena, gaping maw, astronaut, brilliant, brief, Ian.
Hi. It's always difficult to follow John in a reading. This is called 1994 because I'm old enough to remember coming out in 1994. And I'm going to dedicate it to my university friends, my good friends at the back, who were also there with me and remember coming out in 1994. The line in that song where she sings, "You're a girl and I'm a boy," did more for my gender identity than anything before or since. This was 1994, just 21 and finding out who I was and am, who I love and how, at the uni queer disco, before the T was added to the LGB sock. My third girlfriend was president of, standing, watching, waiting, checking everyone out, just in case. Searching not for perfection, nor protection, but a palpable sense of validation. This was 1994, halfway through the shame of Section 28. I went to my first gay pride that year in Brockwell Park. Here I found myself, my family, my people, my protection, if and when I needed it. You're a girl and I'm a boy. This was 1994 when Curry's Law failed to pass. The gay age of consent stalled at 18. But no age of consent for lesbians. Still, we did not exist. This was 1994 when Jarman died of AIDS before antiretrovirals came in. And we watched Blue in pieces at the Phoenix Cinema. You're a girl and I'm a boy is my manifesto for love, though sometimes we are both boys and sometimes we are both girls too. But I am not fixed. I am a state of flux. I am GenderFux. I am not one thing or another, alternating like electricity. I am not sometimes this and sometimes that, not either or. I am fluid and peculiar. I am everything at once. Bubbles rising to the surface of a lake. Confetti dancing in the slipstream.
So as JP already said, this book was accepted for publication less than 48 hours after we submitted it, but that is because we were cheating. So the publisher of this book, Colin, put out a little book of wrestling poems, and the one I'm about to read is a wrestling poem. So when I submitted it, I said, by the way, Colin, there is a wrestling poem in here, and I'm fairly certain that is why he read it immediately. This is kayfabe. Hulk Hogan body slams Andre the Giant in 80s Detroit in front of 93,173 screaming fans, ending Andre's 15-year undefeated streak. In 1985, my mother holds on to my pink screaming girl body after 36 hours of labour and a C-section ruins hers. Kayfabe, noun. In professional wrestling, the fact or convention of presenting stage performances as genuine or authentic. At 10 years old, I first cut off all my hair. The kids at school leered. Are you a boy or a girl? Are you a boy or a girl? Yes. When I cut off my hair for the first time, it makes me feel like a warrior in a battle I don't know I'll be fighting for the rest of my life. 1998's Hell in a Cell match ends between Mankind and The Undertaker. Mick Foley won't stay down, even after being thrown off the top of the cage. Some days, my gender feels like a prison. I can slip through the bars like in X-Men, turn to water. Gender fluid. I'm not finished, it's long, sorry. The WrestleMania women's event between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair in 2021 is only the second female-led main event ever. 2021 has already seen at least 28 transgender or gender non-conforming people fatally shot or killed by other violent means in the US. What the fuck is wrong with me? I scream at my friend, smashing the mirror on her living room wall. Stone Cold Steve Austin smashes The Rock with a chair in 2001. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. Austin 3:16. My hair is short, bleached white blonde in 2001, so I can look like the lead singer of The Offspring. It's the year I got kicked out of home. I'm 16 and I'm trying on another new identity. Heel turn. Heel turned. I'm not as bad as my mother says I am. At WrestleMania 25, a top rope moonsault puts the Heartbreak Kid in the arms of The Undertaker, who plants him with a tombstone piledriver. Homelessness puts me in the arms of men, good and bad. One holds me through the night while I cry for my lost childhood. Another drinks until he doesn't care if I want sex or not. I owe him. I'm chanting ringside, yelling for a man dressed in only a white shirt and underpants. 36 years wrestling, face or heel, girl or boy. Thank you.
I did a fun one to start, so it's only fair that you hear the most horrible poem I've ever written. This is called Ultrasonic, which is a Czech fairy tale. Ultrasonic means greedy guts, roughly, in Czech. It's about a couple who are so desperate for a child that they adopt a tree stump. And shit gets real from there. Anything can be a child if you squint. So they swaddle the swollen stump, bind its leaves up in bunches, set it out in the garden in a little pink sun hat. Even as it weeps, its gnarled fat fists beating against mother's breast, its fisher mouth clamped tight, refuses to suckle, until the surgeon cuts a wider wooden grimace to force the teat inside. Milk, its only word, screams, milk, 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 and snatches up the neighbour's cat, six bloody froth against the muslin, that first tooth a nasty splinter sunk tight in pussy, pussy, pussy. Its chest warps, distends and yowls. So father sits it upside down, says, "You have had your pretty pussy, settle, fucking settle." But now the stump has the colic, sets upon the paper boy, a perfect little beast that fills the throat as he goes down, and cry goes up of paper, boy, milk, boy, pussy, boy, while all its writhing branches crack to burst its frilly dresses, ribbons, lace and thread meant to bind this Whitsun demon tattered on the lawn, and it sprints naked for the gate, needs a taste of flesh to satiate the hunger before it thinks of sleep. But Daddy's got the axe out. Shrieks, "We'll have ourselves a bonfire," and gives chase about the garden while Mummy sits and sobs for the child she wanted and not the child she got. Now he's barbecuing dinner, and she's digging out a stone, a lump of orange brick buried in the flower bed, and she swaddles this instead. Says, "This one's a son, love. At least we're not alone."
Me again. That came around really quickly, somehow. I couldn't decide what to read. I'm going to read Fault Lines, and it's a sort of prose poem, and it's that way because it's printed that way. There's quite a few poems in here which are a little bit more experimental with playing around with form. Check it out, you should probably buy a copy. You may not be surprised to learn that this is based on a true story. "Well, you've always been you, dear," was all my mother could say when I told her I was gay. My father said nothing, he didn't come to the phone. I expect he was wondering, first my brother, now my daughter, what have I done to deserve such pain? Where did we go so wrong? Whose fault was it? Who should we blame? Is there a degenerate gene running in our family? Is it because we let her wear jeans and play football? Is it because she cut her hair short that one time and I beat her with my belt so she wouldn't dare again? Should we have insisted on more dolls, more dresses, more activities that weren't playing football or the guitar, neither suitable for a girl? Should we have let her go to brownies or guides or all those other things that schoolgirls like to do? After a short pause in which I said nothing, since there was nothing that one could say to my mother's dismissive response, she added, "Do you think your brother might be also?" She couldn't say the word, couldn't allow it to sit in her mouth, trip over her tongue, taint her diction, her sense of self. How will this impact on her husband, local school teacher? What will people think? They'd only just been accepted into the inner sanctum of the local Methodist church. Another dirty family secret. It's on a need-to-know basis, and no one needs to know. My mother's only other words on the matter, a few months later, when I saw my parents for the first time as a self-confessed lesbian, were, "I'm just disappointed that I'll never be a grandmother." Nothing about my girlfriend, my potential future parenthood, nothing like, "As long as you're happy, that's all that matters." Nothing about me and my life. Has that changed in the intervening 25 years? It has not. Whose fault is that? I wonder.
Was done over the course of 5 weeks, and what we did was we all wrote poems about our experiences of gender, and then we all wrote towards each other's poems. So I was going to read something else, but I'm going to read this because this was my response to some possible genders, mixed in with, we all ended up blurring into one another. It was it's an excellent book. You should probably buy it. This is Selkie. How old were you when you knew that you were other? As old as the seashore, made and remade by the tide twice a day. Sand and loam, chalk crumbled to reveal brachiopods and bivalves, echinoid and ammonite. State your name for the tape. Siren, selkie, mermaid, fishwife, seal, kin to Orkney, mistress, the sea, rumour, false treasure at the end of a rainbow, vicious rocks in a blinding fog, traveller from the upper Cretaceous, microplastic devourer, lighthouse keeper, puddle watcher. What will you become? Corporeal, metamorph, transmute dull lead to shining gold, slippery fins to trembling legs and cunt. He takes his little finger and hooks me like a prize carp, till I slap and squirm like a fish out of water in my wanting. slip between the covers of his bed, make him the one to gasp for breath, lick the salt off my skin, becoming only in this moment, woman. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was really cool to do this project. Jem orchestrated the whole thing, I guess, like an evil scientist. A friend was talking the other day and said that a collective of Jonathan's friends is probably the collective noun is probably a moral panic. There are asexuals that are my friends, Jem. Yeah, so I didn't want to write exclusively about being miserable, because that's the other thing about being a trans artist is the cis people get very into tell me about your pain, and then like you show up with I experienced some joy today, and they were like, what? How dare you? So this is called compositional. It's about the weird experience of choosing your own name. My parents didn't christen me John. I did that to myself. My middle name's Bernard. Wise choices. And it's weird. You put, you've got all these names put aside for, if you have children and they're all like really cool and weird and rare, and then you end up being called John. Anyway, this is about that. At first, the only place I wear it is to bed. Wade out into it like a Roman bath. The spring of it rumbling up from my bones, crystalline and fresh. The cathedral of the human mouth has the best acoustics. Lingers on those wide open vowels. That O, you suck into those rounded depths, the first note in the chord of my name. I offer you this, so that you can return it, call and response. Jonathan, a coin fed to the coffer during him, sweet charity, blessed gift, bestowed by the Lord himself. Your tongue licks at the thorn in my middle, soothes this unfathomable wound. I have not discarded love, just cheap romance, these girlish trappings. I never spoke the language, prefer a harsh Germanic N, clipped, and certain of its ends and its beginnings.
So this is called Excessivising. It's got lots of rude words in it. Luckily, the only minor in the room is my own daughter, so I think we're good. Here I stand before you with all my etc., etc. This effeminate ephemera, tanked up to my tits on testosterone. My clit is hard, gnawed raw as a bone. And did you happen to know that the clitoris is the same length as the average flaccid penis, 4 inches from hood to glans, to the end of my lucky wishbone? And my corpus cavernosum is just that, cavernous, all tucked up next to those unwanted eggs, all fucked up between your legs. So whenever I've worn a fake dick, it's an extension of my real one. And however I choose to decorate my mons pubis with whatever, and etc., know that you have made me into a thing of wanting. And I feel every single one of those 8,000 sensory nerve endings.
Completely different. This is called Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill. Jack or Jill went up the hill. Jack, Jill, uphill. Jack swaggers, scratches his beard, does 1,000 squats and 100 press-ups, pushing back from the slope of green grass. Jill looks on, unimpressed. Jill goes up the hill, uphill. Her heels can't take it. She takes them off, leaves them beige and lonely, meters apart, unable to hop the distance between them. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jack, Jill went up the hill. Jack, Jill, uphill, overhead, swapped outfits and came down as each other. Jack as Jill, Jill as Jack. Jill, Jack. Jack and Jill went up the hill, stretching their legs after a drug-fueled night out. Sex, cocaine, a memory of a naked stranger's back. The inevitable come down. Jack goes up the hill, comes down as Jill. A face of spirit gum, dermablend, and glitter, glitter, glitter. Jack went up the hill, tripped up, fell down. Jill went up the hill and came down after listening to Jack talk about Jordan Peterson and his lobsters for 45 minutes straight, unable to get a word in edgeways. Jack and Jill went up the hill. Jill gave Jack a hand job on a tartan blanket. Jack got off. Jack off. Jill did not. Thank you.
So the weird thing about writing and publishing books is that by the time everybody's like, ooh, shiny new poems from from this poet, to you it's really old hat and you've been doing it for like a year. Please let me do something else. I think we're all going to do something that's not in the book now. So this one is called Elegy for a Broken Condom. It's about how sometimes my vagina explodes condoms. I am the anomaly Durex needs to know about. It's also about the pharmacist at Boots getting really confused when you go for the morning after pill and there's 3 of you. Sunday morning. 3 of us make this pilgrimage, watch you configure the if-then of our genitals like a puzzle box full of spunk. Oh, till operator, who forgives all with $15.99, I commend to you this fallen latex. I know my lines. In your privacy room, my Catholic ancestors betray me when I pray, thank you, Lord, for making my pussy vice-like and bizarrely angled. With pill on my tongue, take the proffered cup to cleanse my gums. Temple of medicine, I beg miracles. I bring you boys with heart conditions, philosophers and statisticians, men who pay, who buy extra safe, fuck like the charge of the Light Brigade. Pharmacist, forgive us our pleasure. Politician, lead us not into legislation. GP, deliver us from fetus. Cross my fingers, hold my breath. I've read the booklet. When science doesn't know, it makes a guess.
As George very kindly said, I have got a book coming out. It's not on the table because it's not out yet. It's coming in July. And this is a poem from that. It's called Cestina for a Body. Look in the mirror. Pull in tight. Hold my breath. Stand up straight. Put my hand on my body. Try to love what she sees. Me. This is my shape. The slow still before the storm. Ready and ripe. An apricot with its pale fuzz and centre stone. Our delicate flesh. Turn, look at the other side. Flex these arms. Scars that whisper, mother. My baby sailing through water. His first breath. His first fat laugh. First words. First walk, stone in his shoe. Maybe that's the lesson his body saw from unexpected pain. Life's ripe with falling cherry blossoms and aches. The shape it might take, we don't know. This is parenting, shaping lives. Castles, spaceships, Power Rangers. Other pieces of my childhood I share, those I won't. Gripe water soothes an ache. Creep, he can't catch his breath, so I do a butterfly net, put it back in his body. We're the same, Dale bread, made of stone, of heather, yellow gorse, Scarborough rock and Yorkshire grit, run-down seafronts, 200 acres of parkland, wanting to escape my mother's house, her twisted mouth, my body, leave it all behind, reject this femininity, become other, love in a way that will leave me disinherited, her breath on my neck, my fingers run down her body, her ripeness. I dedicate myself to her pain, kiss it away, ripe feelings ready to spill like juice from that apricot. Stone-hearted though, don't forget. Words murmured under my breath. I love you. In secret. That's fine, we're in good shape. This is fine. Good friends want to kiss each other. Under the duvet, I think about her body. Us laying together. Her soft, unscarred stomach. My body, the shipwreck of my motherhood. How I get her to swear. Ripe language colouring the air above my bed like pink smoke. Other ways I'd like to love her. Holding hands with my boy. Stoned conversations on a Sunday morning. Coloured shapes of Lego. Long walks in the cold where I can see our breath. Stone butch and femme entwined. The poetry of our bodies. Us both ripened from trauma to meet ourselves. The shape of our lives. Older, other, until our final breath. Thank you.
Okay, last one I think from our set, from me, and then we'll take another quick break. I got 3 that I was going to read, and I can't decide which one, but I'm going to choose the one that isn't quite so depressing as the other 2, because trying to end on a slightly lighter note. This is an extract from a mini chapbook that's coming out this summer called Be Cause, which is a 180-line poem exploring life's infinity loops, offering life advice that nobody wants, exploring pop culture, and ill-advised paraphrasing of T.S. Eliot poems. So you've been warned. Because when I nearly died, I had not yet lived. Because when I tried to die, I had lived too much. Because I did not expect to live longer than Christ. Because I did not expect Christ to live long in me. Because when recommended past life regression, I did not want to go back. Because I regret nothing except the mistakes of others. Because when I look in the mirror, I still don't know what to expect. Because when I look in the mirror, I don't recognise the body standing there. Because I am all my past part cells in one semblance of bones. Because my body does not belong to me, but is borrowed. Because I do not remember who I borrowed it from. Because identity is a relative construct. Because sanity is a movable feast. Because beginnings do not always occur at the start. Because sometimes beginnings are incremental and hidden. Because sometimes you cannot see where you began until you're at a safe enough distance to look back. Because sometimes safety is found only after you've thrown yourself off that cliff. Because sometimes safety is found only after you've hit the ground. Because the rate of decay is travelling faster than the speed of pain. Because time itself is in retreat. Because the shape of the future is reflected in the rear view mirror. Because what you thought was past is always closer than you think. Because both past and future can be jump-started many times. Because one lifetime is never enough. Because sometimes I'm a mote of dust floating in space. because other times I am a joke looking for its punchline, because green shoots can rise unexpectedly through concrete, because I hurtle and skitter like a kite untethered and hurled into the sky, because sometimes I dream of blissful awakenings, because sometimes I'm kept awake by corrosive nightmares, because in the morning I will walk tall and not falter, because in the morning I will step over the imagined future that has fallen to the floor during the course of the night, because every second is the start of something unexpected and unimaginable, because once I was an orphan of opportunity, but now I am the first rung of the ladder, because I always hope to turn again, because I always hope. Thank you. We're going to take another quick break, super quick, because we are running a little bit short of time, and we have two more fantastic poets to read to you, Rick and George. So thank you for coming, thank you for listening. Do buy books, or talk to us at least, and have a quick break, and then we'll be back shortly. Thank you.